Greetings, stranger, and be welcome. It's good to see you aboard, and just in time. We've arrived, well, almost. If you're a little confused, don't worry. I can share quite a lot of information with you. We still have a bit of time. Venturing into the city at the center of the world for the first time can be quite overwhelming, believe you me. In fact, when I first saw Absalom, it was from the perspective of a humble kobold taking his first steps into the open air. Poor Ko didn't realize quite what he'd chanced upon, and quickly scurried back to the familiar and to the small. But if you've found yourself here, then you're certainly not interested in the familiar or the small, and I can only thank you for that. It's a brave decision, especially if this is also, as I suspect, your first journey not only to the city, but to the inner sea region as a whole. Actually, there has been a large number of visitors from different worlds recently, even different universes. Could this be your first foray into Golarion and into this material plane? Well, like I said, you have nothing to fear. On the contrary, you're in luck. You see, I am embarking on a grand tour. I intend to visit every nation and every curiosity in Golarion, one at a time. I'll be taking my time, making sure I can appreciate the majesty and beauty of each locale. Also, one can never be too careful, for this world is full of dangers as arresting to the heart as its wonders are to the senses. Nevertheless, in good time, you'll be able to find me just about anywhere on this planet, and perhaps beyond. All this to say, one has to start somewhere, and the city at the center of the world is as good a place as any, to my mind. If you have nothing else to do while we make port, lend an ear or two, and let me tell you about what you can expect to encounter in ancient, mighty Absalom. This city was founded almost 5,000 years ago by the god Eridan, who sought to bring to him representatives from all of humanity. Sages, mystics, monks, and other men of faith and wisdom were all drawn to Absalom by its god-king. Merchants, smugglers, warriors, nobles, and the dispossessed were all called here as well, though perhaps less by awestruck wonder and more by humble curiosity, or ignoble ambition. Being created by divine will gave the city a flourishing head start. Indeed, it took less than 25 years before it attracted its first of many invaders. But they were all repelled, and today Absalom is proud to be called the city at the center of the world, a title that does not describe it geographically, for it is not even at the center of the inner sea, but rather acknowledges its unique history, determination, and indomitable durability, not to mention its strategic importance to continental trade. The city's motto is Ex Protex, first among equals, roughly translated from Old Aslanti, and rarely are words so fitting. Today, the god Eridan is dead, removed from all sight in violation of his own prophecy. Yet, in this humble guide's opinion, his city surpassed him long ago. Eridan concerned himself less and less with Absalom's governance and destiny as time marched onwards, appearing in person less frequently and intervening only when absolutely necessary. His final visit to the city was sometime before 401 AR, which marks the beginning of the settlement's transition from a religious site to an independent polity. While Eridan's demise certainly shook the city to its core, it has demonstrated its trademark tenacity in persevering through the Age of Lost Omens. Absalom's population is currently over 300,000, a number that challenges comprehension. Almost 2/3 of these people are human, with a sizable minority of halflings and half-elves. This is perhaps not surprising, for the city is considered by many to be humanity's greatest achievement. Still, you will be able to find representatives from just about any ancestry here. Its scale is easy to miss if your only exposure to it has been poring over maps, and I mean that quite literally. You see there? The city is over 5 miles wide and 7 miles long, making it truly without equal in the region, and possibly beyond. Each district, and there are many, but all in good time, is the size of a city by itself. Many of them rival the capitals of other nations, not only in population and size, but in wealth and splendor too. But where there is great fortune, there is poverty also, and in this regard Absalom is no exception. So what, you might ask, gives the city its unique character beyond sheer scale? The Starstone, I reply. Many thousands of years ago, in an event scholars call Earthfall, mighty meteorites bombarded this planet, the greatest of them enough to destroy nations in moments. The precursors and ramifications of this doom are topics for another time, with the exception of what could be the greatest of all those meteorites, the Starstone itself. This chunk's impact was so great that it is credited with the creation of the Inner Sea, whose waters we are currently sailing. It is also, through some undetermined mechanism, capable of ascending a person into godhood. Indeed, it was lifted from the bottom of its watery cradle by the will of the god of humanity, Eridan, as his first divine act. The Starstone ascended Eridan, and so Eridan ascended the Starstone, which is now enshrined in the Starstone Cathedral at the centre of the city, at the centre of the world. Eridan also elevated, or perhaps conjured or relocated its surroundings, naming this new island Kortos, and founded the city, creating Absalom as a location and nation simultaneously. Incidentally, this event is so significant to history that it also marks the beginning of our timeline. Thus, the Starstone was raised in the year 1 Absalom Reckoning, AR, which is now 4,722 years ago. And in all this time, it has never once been conquered. One of the principal reasons why actually surrounds us even as I speak. Take a look out the cabin window. It is quite a macabre first impression, I'd say. This mass of shipwrecks and wooden debris is the Flotsam Graveyard, and it is the first district of Absalom you will experience, though only briefly and with some hesitation on my part naming it such. Half fluctuating hazard, and half feat of military engineering, the Flotsam Graveyard is mostly composed of those ships whose former captains served the navies and flotillas of would-be conquerors of Absalom. Each was repelled, and each ship was crippled and deposited here. With every failed assault, the Flotsam Graveyard grew, until now it exists as you see it. It is an impossibly complex maze, navigable only by those privy to the safe routes of the Pilots Guild. Any ship with more than 6 people aboard, or more than 500 pounds of cargo, must signal to be escorted by a trained pilot, or risk not only a hefty fine, but the unintended donation of their vessel to the graveyard. After all, these wrecks can be surprisingly mobile with the tides and currents, so memorizing any particular route is useless. Despite the fee for the escort service, most captains would rather pay the pilots than the graveyard. Now that small isle over yonder is the aptly named Pilot Island, on which is constructed perhaps the most important building in all Absalom, its Lighthouse. Standing at over 650 feet tall, it is said that Eridan himself oversaw its construction. The beacon can be seen from 25 miles away, even on the most turbulent and shrouded of nights, and twice this distance on clear evenings. For over 4,000 years has it ensured the success of Absalom's trade, which is, after all, its most powerful asset. Plus, while it predates the graveyard, it also serves as a helpful warning to overeager ship captains to proceed with caution. Not far from Pilot Island, in sight of that mighty fortress on the hill there to the west, lie 6 beached galleons, painted ebony, upturned and anchored to the razor-sharp reef that lies just below much of the water's surface here. That would be the Black Whale, and it functions as a high-security prison for those too powerful, too devious, or otherwise too sensitive to be housed in Absalom proper. Now, I am not privy to much of its internal workings, but I can tell you that it is a relatively new addition to the graveyard, being opened around the year 4694 by the city's primarch, Lord Gear. This floating prison would be difficult to escape even for a strong swimmer, for the excess food and debris are dumped into the surrounding water as chum, which I am told has cultivated quite the shark population. Absalom's gendarmerie, the Starwatch, also oversees the Black Whale from their keep on that hill. Their main responsibility is maintaining good order within the city, though they are somewhat paradoxically garrisoned quite a distance from Absalom proper due to an ancient pact with the First Guard, which is the city's primary military force. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention the Wave Riders. If you see someone riding a hippocampus around the graveyard, or indeed around any of Absalom's coastal waters, then you are most likely observing one. The Wave Riders are yet another military force loyal to Absalom. They are the Knights of the Sea, and they function as scouts and waterborne light cavalry, which are perfect for harassing lighter vessels or aquatic monsters that would threaten the city-state or its trade. I hope all this conveys the importance of the Flotsam Graveyard to you. It is no coincidence that it is so heavily regulated, for it is truly the gateway to the city. Much of the land surrounding Absalom is actually untamed wilderness, you see. The only people who use an overland route to gain entry are local traders or smugglers. The overwhelming majority of travellers, like us, will enter the city through this shifting testament to its resilience. It will grant us passage to the Docks District, which is the next stop in my personal guided tour. We'll be making port in the next few minutes, I should think. It would be my pleasure to show you around after we've disembarked, though first there is one final thing you should know about the city as a whole. You see, despite my best efforts, I fear that I may have failed properly to impress upon you the scale of Absalom. Each district is truly enormous, with its own specialty, personality, history, and even its own local government and accompanying law enforcement. Walking from one end to another would take almost 2 hours at a leisurely pace over flat ground, whereas Absalom's streets are bustling even when they are not outright crowded. If someone goes missing here, they can be damned hard to find. So, it is important to prepare yourself before you step off the ship, and to keep your wits and wallet about you once you do. I should also warn you that the city at the centre of the world has suffered some setbacks in recent years. Only 6 years ago, it was almost overwhelmed by the Lich, Tar-Baphon, whose siege followed closely in the footsteps of the unrelated Black Echelon Uprising, during which legions of demons and undead jointly befell the city. Now, while both of these occurrences were ultimately resolved in Absalom's favour, I must warn you that the mood of the city remains, heightened, shall we say. The ruling Primarch, Lord Gear of House Gix, disappeared during the uprising, and remains officially missing to this day. Absalom's Grand Council, which is the ultimate authority in the city, is enthusiastic to prevent another existential crisis, so if you are of a more mischievous persuasion, you would do well to avoid causing too much trouble. But perhaps I am getting ahead of myself. You are surely here to explore, and to indulge in this magnificent city's pleasures, not to threaten to raze it to the ground. Now, if you decide that we should part ways here, then I wish you the best of luck on your adventures throughout this city, but I do hope that you will join me again. I now undertake to meander my way as inefficiently as possible towards the Starstone Cathedral, because I desire that it be the capstone of my tour, as befits any good guide. After all, what can compete with the allure of a god-creating artifact housed inside an ever-shifting temple erected by the god Aridon himself? Well, in fact, I think much of Absalom's culture can compete, and if you will hold your patience with me, then I believe also that I will be able to prove it to you. The Docks District is the next stop, and the Flotsam Graveyard was merely my first overture in what will become a comprehensive guide to the city at the centre of the world. Meet me on the jetty, and I will show you the breathing lungs of Absalom's trade. Until then.